Well, hey there. Happy New Year. I am so glad to be back here on the podcast. Yes, I know there was an episode last week, but this is my first one, like officially recording in 2023. It was great to take some time off, but let me tell you, getting back into the swing of things has not been easy. All right, but for now, let's just dive right into this episode. Welcome to the Intuitive Eating Mama podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer D'Amato. I am an intuitive eating counselor and I'm also a mom to four. This podcast is not just for mamas, it's for all women who are ready to ditch diets, ditch the scale and food guilt forever, and instead invite peace with food, increase their body trust, and confidence in all of her choices. I believe this show is going to shed some light on sneaky ways diet culture has infiltrated your thoughts, your family, and your well-being. No matter the episode, I want you to walk away feeling informed, inspired, and encouraged. So whether you're taking a walk, washing the dishes, or carting kids around, let's dive into the latest episode on the Intuitive Eating Mama podcast. Well, like I said in my intro, it's been hard to get back in the swing of things. It's not that I've been doing nothing. I've been doing so much, but mentally, my head has been like wanting to hang out with my kids and just as a family. My oldest is home from college. This is a new experience for me as a mom. And I'm just like, all I want to do is hang out, watch Parks and Rec because that's what they got me for Christmas. And I'm pretty much through the entire series because that's what we've been doing is hanging out and having good food and playing some games and laughing and just even making more memories. I am all about that, all about all of it. But I'm also about sharing about intuitive eating and making fun content on Instagram and being present for my private community, which has been really fun because coffee chats on Wednesday morning are back and we have been having some doozies because we're in the midst of diet culture's favorite season. And I would even say wellness culture, right? Like it's all insanely bombarding your social media, your TV time, your grocery store line. Like it's everywhere right now. My goodness. Somebody just shared the excerpt from the 60 Minutes segment. It's not a show I would ever watch probably again. I mean, maybe 20 years ago. But they did this horrible piece on obesity. And I'm still cringing to this day at the segment piece I saw. I didn't even watch the whole thing because I probably would have been cussing and screaming, and I just didn't want to spend the last week or so doing that. If you happen to see it, definitely hit me up in the DMs and let me know your thoughts. This episode, though, 165, I still can't believe it's 165, but I posed this question: what does it take to be an intuitive eater? And I think it could be possible you think there's a laundry list of things. Like, I have to be able to do all of these things to be an intuitive eater. And I really want to simplify the answer. What I believe it takes to be an intuitive eater is simply this: reject diet culture. And that diet culture term does encompass a lot of things. It's not just diets, it's how bodies are treated, how bodies of different size, larger bodies, fat bodies. It's how we perceive health. Like there's a lot in rejecting diet culture. But to be an intuitive eater, that's really what it takes. Now, there are lots of things that come after you've rejected diet culture. There's things that you do, things that you want to do because you finally have said enough is enough. You finally are rejecting the thing that you might have been part of for the last 20, 25, dare I say 30 years. There's a lot to unpack when you reject diet culture, when you reject the thoughts, the actions, the behaviors, the dangerous things that come with diet culture. And I say dangerous because there's people starving themselves out there. There are people not eating for hours on end. There are people spreading so much misinformation about food, like it is nauseating. I think sometimes we can overcomplicate everything. Like, let's just be honest. We overcomplicate everything. But I don't like to overcomplicate intuitive eating. I don't like that to be the approach. It is simple and it takes one step to start. It's saying no. It's saying I'm not participating in this $90 billion industry of diet culture and this wellness culture, that really is just diet culture masked in, prettier things. I'm no longer participating. Because when you do that, when you decide, I'm done, it's when you can do all of the other things, the unpacking of food rules, making peace with food, starting to really tune into your body and really believing you are the expert on you. Now, let me be clear. You will, as an intuitive eater, reject diet culture. It's that one thing that it takes to be an intuitive eater, really, is rejecting diet culture. It does not mean diet culture won't come for you. Look at it right now. Look at your social media feed. Oh my goodness, here are the coworkers in the lunchroom, the people in the grocery store line, forget the magazines. Oh my goodness, the talk is crazy high right now because it's the new year. It doesn't mean diet culture won't come for you. It doesn't mean that you won't still hear the messages. And, truth bomb. It doesn't mean you won't feel tempted. It doesn't mean you won't feel like, well, maybe I should just go back on a diet because you don't know what to do next. And I think that's really where it feels complicated, even if it's simple to say, okay, to be an intuitive eater, I reject diet culture, I reject diet mentality, I reject everything that diets stand for. But the complication comes is, what do you do next? How do you unpack the food rules? How do you make peace with all foods, like all foods? We're usually not trying to make peace with broccoli, though I definitely think sometimes we do need to make peace with things like broccoli because diet culture has ruined everything. But how do you make peace with all foods? How do you take out that morality, the good and bad, when it comes to labeling your food? How do you believe you're the expert on you? How do you show up at events, parties, and feel like no stress about the food? How do you go out to eat without having to review the menu? These are the things that feel complicated in the simple decision to say, I want to be an intuitive eater. I am an intuitive eater, but what now? And I really believe you do need to fill in the gap because that temptation comes in, those messages come in, not just in the new year, they're all the time. So that's where I come in. That's where I like to fill in the gap for you. It's like creating a bridge from you standing on that place going, okay, I'm done. And you're kind of shouting across like, I don't want to diet anymore. And on the other side is complete food freedom and intuitive eating and, having peace with food and going out to eat and all of these things I just mentioned, like all of the things you probably see on my social media. But how do you get there? How do you make it from I'm done with dieting to really feeling confident as an intuitive eater? Well, there's a bridge. And I like to create that bridge in the most safe, welcoming, fun, energetic, but also deep space. And what I've decided just within my own practice is I'm moving away from one-on-one. I still do it. It's definitely an investment of your time and, of course, your money to be able to do that, like to work with me one-on-one. I love it. I love working with my clients. But what I've noticed over time is doing it alone isn't the same experience is what I call the head nod effect. My group clients totally know what I'm talking about if they're listening. Like when we're in our group call And I'd say 90% of the individuals are on video. And some aren't, just not because they don't want to be, but because they've got other things going on in the background, or they're waiting in their car or something, for some, to go into whatever they're doing next. But when we're on those calls and someone else is getting coaching and sharing, and we're working through a particular obstacle or struggle or thought, there's all this head nodding. There's all this amazing head nodding going on. And what we've noticed in these groups over time is how valuable the head nod is. I hear from women repeatedly, I'm so grateful I don't feel alone anymore. I really thought I was the only one who struggled with, buying clothes as my body's gotten bigger. I thought I was the only one who hated cooking dinner every single night because I'm just so frustrated and I didn't know what to do until I heard, until I saw, until I felt like I'm not the only one. This is really why the bridge that I'm creating for you is an invitation to my group coaching. Because there's a gap. What does it take to be an intuitive eater? Reject diet culture. Okay, I feel like, yes, that's me, but how do I get to the other side? So what I'm including in group coaching, which is you showing up, you getting what you need personalized in that group time, all the head nodding happening too, which is honestly, I can't even tell you what that feels like for me when I didn't have that at the beginning of my journey. Like I didn't have the head nods, and the head nods are everything. But what you also have is access to my intuitive eating course so that you can build that confidence in the intuitive eating principles. So there's really two parts to the bridge. Part of it is understanding the principles and implementing words today, implementing those principles. And then the other part of the bridge is our group time, is the personalized time with me, the one-on-one you get within the group, and that belonging, that head nod effect. There's so much power in putting those three things together. So there's a self-paced course you have access to, you get to walk through, you get to implement and learn and dig deeper. And then there's coaching. Anyway, I probably could talk about this for the next 25 minutes and you'd be like, Jen, I get it. Like, just tell me where to go. All you need to do is go to www.theintuitiveeatingmama.com/group coaching. That's it. Head there. It'll give you all the information you're looking for. It'll give you even more details, because I'm not going to sit here for the next 25 minutes and share every little bit because you'd probably go nuts. But all the details are there and you can enroll. Now, if you're listening to this podcast episode, you are hearing this. You're probably not going to hear this anywhere else for another week. What you're also not going to hear anywhere else but the podcast is I'm going to give you a coupon code. Yep, for being a listener and enrolling in group coaching for January, I'm going to give you a coupon code. It's going to be in the show notes. Do not miss that opportunity to save money on enrollment. I know things are crazy right now with the economy. I know things with your budget, and I want to make that work for you. So not only is there a coupon code, there are payment plan options. I want to make the bridge easy to cross over. Ooh, I'm getting this visual and I'm in love with it. And it was one of those things that just kind of came to me like, oh, I see it. I see it. I am really glad to be back. Even just sitting here for the last, 13 minutes or so talking just with you and spending this time back on the podcast fills my cup. I get so excited for group coaching because I feel like this kind of feeling I have on the podcast, amplified every single week. So I'm excited to welcome you in. If you have questions, my email is jennifer@healthcoach4life.com. Don't hesitate to reach out or shoot me a DM on Instagram if we hang out there. I am so excited for 2023, and I'm excited for you to cross over that bridge from saying, I'm done with diet culture to, you know what? I'm an amazing, fabulous, intuitive eater, and I wouldn't want it any other way. All right, ladies, see you right back here next week.